Okay, so let me just bring in Charlie Munger here, along with Warren Buffett. Charlie, Bill Ackman really wanted you to speak to him because he said you're doing reputational damage to a company you don't understand. He wanted you to change your mind. Will you change your mind on Valeant?
I don't think so. You know, there's been a complaint about my saying that Valeant is a sewer, but I thought the complaint would come from the sewers. It never occurred to me that anybody would be defending Valeant.
Warren, you said that this was a company that had a seriously flawed business model, and yet investors piled into it, and they tried to get you to go into it.
That's true, we've never been long or short a share. I've never personally been long or short a share. Berkshire hasn't. Charlie hasn't. But,
of Valeant.
Of Valeant. It was no secret at all. In fact, it was trumpeted that their business model was to jack up prices, among other things.
Okay, that's not illegal, though.
No, it's not illegal, but I don't think it's wise when you take somebody that has a life-saving drug and you buy it and then you quintuple the price or something of the sort. I think public policy and public opinion will turn against a company like that.
Charlie, you've known Warren for decades and decades. Bill Ackman likes to be considered a baby Buffett. Is he anywhere close?
Well, he certainly made a brilliant investment in General Growth Properties, and he's totally right about Herbalife. And he's very articulate and intelligent, and he's a fellow Harvard man. So he's not all bad. On the other hand, the main thing that Valeant did that was unbelievably clever was to pay the consumer's part of the deductible for the drugs they were selling. That is totally illegal, criminal under the Medicare laws. But that doesn't apply under the laws, under various state laws. And they saw that loophole, and so they did with all the drugs that weren't covered by Medicare. They paid the consumer's share of the deductible, and they tried to pretend that it was a charitable contribution when really it was the functional equivalent of bribing the other fellow's purchasing agent. So it was, sewer was too light a word for the behavior of this company.
And Pearson, before the Senate committee, the CEO, was trumpeting this $1 billion a year that they were supposedly, basically donating things for patients until Senator Warren, later in the hearing, pointed out the fact that by doing that, they were able to essentially jack up prices. It was totally in their interest, and they were pretending it was in the patient's interest.
Pretending it was charity and well-meant.
Yeah.
And they're still doing it. The guy, after the thing broke into a catastrophe of public relations, deservedly, he goes before Congress and testifies under oath that he's doing this great favor for civilization by the functional equivalent of bribing the other fellow's purchasing agent. This is not a normal company.
But as immoral as you talk about it, is it, of all the companies you've watched and looked at, perhaps the most immoral you've ever seen?
No. There's a lot of competition for that. We live in a free enterprise capitalist society.
Yeah, you would lose that.
No.
But looking at a lesson that all investors can learn, Warren, from the Valeant situation, an average investor who may be watching right now, what's that lesson?
Well, if you can't put it on the front page, you've got a problem. And one tip-off, when they paid $100 million for an option on a company to buy it for $1 or something of the sort, I've never seen that in my life.
And kept it secret and changed the accounting.
Yeah, that you know something's wrong, and anybody knows something wrong. Anybody in Wall Street would tell you that there's something nefarious behind a transaction like that.
Well, guess what? The New York City sewer system is on the phone, Charlie. They're agreeing with you.
Well, they should be. And I will apologize to the sewer system for my comments. I meant no insult.
Okay, guess what? We just hit session highs as you guys were talking. I think the markets really like what you're saying.